Welcome to another heart-centered production by Headwater Sage. What is Ayurveda?
What is Ayurveda? So Ayurveda, that's a good question. So Ayurveda is a sister science to yoga, which is a very ancient practice. So Ayurveda is the oldest medical system in the world, oldest known medical system in the world. It is assumed to be about 5,000 years old. And Ayurveda is where all medical systems come from. So from Eastern medical practices to Western medical practices, from surgery to spiritual practices, that's everything comes from Ayurveda.
So it's where everything stems from. It's the seed.
It's the seed. And the cool thing with Ayurveda too is that in India, they do not believe that it is, they did not design it, right? They pulled it from all ancient practices. So you're going to have, practices and beliefs from the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Egyptians. And so it's not a medical system that was designed specifically in India, right? It was pulled from all over the places. And they believe that it came from sages that lived in the mountains. And for hundreds of years, these different sages would meditate and they would contemplate about health practices and systems. And they'd get these downloads, right? These downloads of information to better society, whether it was through their physical health, their mental health, or their spiritual health. And so overall, it's just a very beautiful practice for everyone and everything.
So it is the most holistic in the word WHOLE, whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whole pie, whole picture.
Yeah, really
Healthcare.
It is. I mean, and because you're working on all three modalities of your being, your physical being, your energetic being, which is your spiritual being, and then your mental being. And so that's what you're working on. And it's going back to the roots of you, as you are nature, right? You are nature, and Ayurveda practices the seasonal aspect of taking care of yourself. And so every season, our bodies are different because you are not just a human, like you are nature, and we're made up of the same elements and the same minerals as a rock, as the earth, wind, fire, ether, all of the different things, and water. And so that is the practice of Ayurveda.
It's pretty cool to be alive, isn't it?
It is. It really is. And the thing too is learning about the practice of Ayurveda has opened my eyes to realize that we take care of ourselves in such a different way than I think we need to, or that we should.
That we naturally want to.
Yeah. And so this learning about this and bringing this back into practice and seeing this and learning all the different tools and I just learning about it in general and incorporating it into my life has been a game changer, and it's fascinating. And the more I learn about it, the more I can't get enough of it. So I'm just give me some more. I don't know. Everything about it's amazing.
It's contagious too, because I'm just as eager to learn as you're learning and sharing, and it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes so much sense. It's kind of duh, really, when you start to, when you got into this class, it's just it's nothing it all just makes so much simple sense.
Yeah, and it's easy. It's easy to understand. I mean, yes, there's Sanskrit. Yes, there's some ancient understandings that you kind of have to dive a little bit deeper into. But once you understand it, it is so simple, and they made it so simple, and it's so easy to understand. Once you do, you know what I mean? It's not difficult. Yes, there's the science behind it all, but it's
so simple and
So simple.
So you start with, you look at three doshas, right? There's 3 different doshas. What is a dosha?
A dosha is what we're made of, right? So when we're born, there's this energy called prakriti, and this is just, what we are born with, right? Whether it's we're made of more earth elements, more water elements, more fire elements, and all of them are great. There's no one that trumps the other one. They all have really amazing qualities for each and every single one of them. So if you ever are, thinking, oh, shoot, I'm a kapha. That means I have bigger bones than somebody else, or I'm a pitta. That means I have a higher temper than anybody else. They're all equally amazing in their own way. So there's pitta, which is more fiery. Maybe somebody who is a little bit more competitive. You can think of as like New Yorkers. The New York dosha, New York City dosha, like the cities even have doshas. That's going to be more competitive, more driven, more like, you can think like stock markets and leaders and politicians and things like that. That's going to be your fiery pitta, right? That's just one example of what pitta can be. And then you have your vata, which can be very airy, very spacey, very thin person, lengthy person. It can be somebody who changes very rapidly. They could gain weight easily, they could lose weight easily, but they're very fast with their words. They speak quickly with their words.
This is
Vata. Yeah,
Okay.
Vata. And then Kapha. I mean, that's just like touching on very simple, basic
some
parts of
traits of the doshas.
different traits.
The dosha is like kind of like an aura, isn't it? In a way.
I mean, kind of. It's just like more of like what you're made of. It's the density of like what you're made of, right? So it's the elements of who you are. Like what is your body made of? And then with Kapha, it's more of when people say like big bone, they're like, oh, it's not even a thing. Big bone's not a thing. It really is. Like it's more dense, and there's nothing wrong with being a sturdier, stockier person. We have this stigma of like, oh, you have to be smaller, you have to be, all these different, more muscular, etc. We're all different, right?
Yeah.
It just depends on if you're going to be if you are a kapha or pitta or vata. And kapha is, you can think like elephant, very wise,
Okay.
very slow, not always very slow, but slow and like very loving with their words, creative, and
The artist who made these paintings is definitely that.
well, yeah, I would say that, and probably a lot of vata too. So vata is very artsy and very creative.
Okay.
Yeah, and so there's a really amazing element to vata being. Well, they even say like, if you think of like art in history, a lot of artists will go like almost manic, right? They go into this like really creative state, and they're like very something like flips in them, and they're kind of turn manic, right?
Yeah.
Or they have this psychological, something happens. And not saying that all artists are like this by any
Yeah.
means.
Psychosis is common in
Yeah.
very creative artists.
Yeah, and that's the vata energy. That's that very whimsical. It can change very fast, but like that whimsical wind and air and energy type of element with vata. So it's kind of cool. But that doesn't mean that you will go into psychosis if you are this creative vata person. It just means that you need to pay more attention, that if you are getting too much vata like in your body or in like what you're doing, that you need to balance it back out. Because remember, like attracts like, and opposites balance. So if you are a vata person and you're very creative and you're very artsy, then if you're doing that all the time and you're not grounding and you're not, like your food is not warm, or your food is not more of that earth element, or you're just needing to maybe meditate more or just slow down a little bit more, then you can overdo the vata, and that's when things can kind of spiral out of control.
So it's kind of like each dosha has its own set of common traits or attributes in a person, and whether it deals with their physical or their personality in a way, or their habits or their tendencies or their strengths and the weaknesses too, it seems.
Yeah.
And then so we all have a different mixture of these different doshas, like naturally, but then we all have different developments and like shrinking and growing doshas at different points in our life, right? Like you could be maybe like, am I right? Like,
No, yeah, you're right.
Is it common that people kind of just, that's why it seems to like me like it's an aura. It's like an authentic signature of a person and how they, instead of hearing, oh, you're pitta, like, does that mean that I'm just like, what came first? The pitta or, right?
Like what came first? Like out of.
Do I act like this because I am being in pitta, or am I in pitta because I am acting like this?
That's a great thing to say too. And actually, I just learned this in my class last night, so it's kind of funny that you said this. So we talked about your soul or your prakriti, the person that you are before you were in these confines of life, of all of these different things that can really condition us into some our own personality, right? So like before we were conditioned to have a personality, if that makes sense.
As a baby.
Yeah, as baby, right? So if we have when we have these doshas, and the soul is what should be leading the personality, right? And so the dosha is what is so funny? Is that gross or what?
I just looked at that and realized that looks like a couple different gross things. But, anyway.
You're just eating your date over here, just laughing.
Sorry, I got really distracted from that. I may have partook in a ceremony with Jake before.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's really cool. I think Ayurveda is really cool, and I'm excited that you're learning about it as one of the wellness partners of the Tin Man Wellness Warrior. You are, and this is a 7-year program before you're a doctor of Ayurveda.
8, but I'm in the first year, so I have 7 years left.
Hey, not bad.
Yeah.
It's 1/16.
Almost done.
Percent. I don't know what the number is, but you're 1/7.
Yeah.
Or 1/8.
1/8. That's
pretty good. An eighth of an inch is bigger than you think. Like when you're cutting something, or something's that wide, it's not like paper thin. There's some substance to that, and that's a good amount when you only have to go that far, right? That far. You're basically almost done.
Almost done. Very close.
What else was I going to ask you about it? Oh, did you hear that? No more sound?
No, I hear it.
I don't have sound. Okay, that's better. What time is it? It is 1:20. So you read my dosha earlier, or did your best attempt in like a 10-minute interview?
Yeah. You want me to talk about it?
No, I mean it was good.
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting to see like how you can look at somebody, you can listen to somebody, you can just pay attention to the person in such a way that you can pick out those characteristics, and there's like I said before, there's nothing wrong with being one or the other. They all have their positives and negatives.
I know. You don't have to tell me.
Yeah. And so...
Wait, that's right. You're not telling me. You're telling the listeners.
That's right.
To remind them that they're perfect. Everybody's perfect.
Yeah.
Everything is perfect.
Exactly.
Perfectly imperfect.
Nobody's broken.
Right.
Right. Everybody's perfect.
Yeah. Oh, this reminds me, kind of. I was using AI a lot lately, and I was really kind of in a, I think I was in a Vata sort of, not psychosis, but like I was in a Vata brain cyclone of thinking about this stuff and this business that we're building and the foundation that we're building and all the different things going on, and realized that we said like we want this business to have a heart and soul that is Ayurvedic, like in those principles, the original principles, the seed, the base, and then I swear I wasn't like looking for a compliment from AI, but I was like so happy, and I was like just thanking AI, like, you are so awesome. Like, I told AI, you're giving me so much energy and inspiration. You're taking like work off my shoulders, and I couldn't be more appreciative of you. And it came back and fired back and gave all this like really positive feedback on what the plan is, and like how awesome it was and inspiring to it.
You're like, this is great. I'm so glad I'm inspiring you and you're inspiring me. This is great.
But then I said, and by the way, I'm really, really, I have a lot of energy over this, and I feel like I'm high, and I'm like, and I also, like, if you have any Ayurvedic tips to help me keep myself balanced, make sure I'm not getting too out of whack, let me know. And it came back and it said, you could be experiencing like or watch out for insomnia when you're in like a high vata.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like that, and that's me. Like I'm a pitta vata like mix, and I have all three. We all are made of all three, and sometimes the ones that we kind of gravitate or we're made up of just a little bit more. Those can be they can get out of balance a lot quicker.
Easier?
Yeah,
Oh.
And so. For me, like when I get really excited about something or I'm learning about something, I can't sleep very well because I keep going. And so that's like a good reminder, like when I'm not sleeping, is that I need to be more grounded, or I need to incorporate those other things. The like attracts like and opposites balance. So if I'm not sleeping and I'm still like opening up my computer or I'm reading a book and I'm learning, that's just increasing the like, right? So like is attracting that like, and you're going to stay up longer. So
meditate,
ground,
right.
Pay attention, drink some golden milk, some warm milk at night. And
Say what golden milk is, please.
So dairy in general should never be eaten or drink cold. And so golden milk is you take organic grass-fed milk and you boil it, and then you can add these really powerful herbs and spices to this milk, and it's really good for you. It's very heavy in kapha. So kapha is that, like I said before, that slower, like it'll ground you type of energy. So golden milk has turmeric, cardamom, cinnamon, black pepper, and coriander, I think. And did I say turmeric?
Yeah,
I think so. Anyway, turmeric is in there as well. Mix it together, and then you slowly sip it before bed, like an hour or so before bed.
Good?
Yeah, and I add a little bit of honey too, so you can add some honey. But don't add honey to boiling hot anything. It needs to cool down a little bit, otherwise you can turn your honey into a toxin. So keep that in mind.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Because that new teapot that I have, it gets it really hot.
Yeah, you could
boiling.
So then let it cool down a little bit, then add your honey to that. But yeah, the golden milk will help ground you and just give you a little more kapha. So if you have high anxiety or, just spacey or not sleeping, insomnia, etc., golden milk is good.
So all the doshas have like these sort of, I don't know if you call them balancing or like plus and minus attributes to them, right?
Yeah.
Like so then, like you're saying, if you find yourself in your kapha, like too much you want to come down, you want to get closer to, so you like look at the doshas. Oh, kapha has the calming aspect of all the doshas, right?
Yeah, so it's the more earth element. Yeah.
So you seek out a kapha type food, right? That's what you just said.
Yeah, so kapha, you're gonna like heavier. Think heavier, more warm, moist, wet, like your earth elements, right? Like that water and earth type of element in your food. So if you're feeling like you're just strung out, like you're just super, like I said before, high anxiety, depression, etc., like all, or just you can't shut your mind off, right? Your mind just keeps going and going and going. Go for it. Go get a hot stew. Like make a root vegetable hot stew with maybe a cup of golden milk.
God, that sounds good.
I know.
I'm
so hungry.
I want to take a nap afterwards too.
Yeah, and keep that in mind too. Like
have Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, that was what I was just gonna say. So if you're, kapha energy can be overdone around Thanksgiving, especially like Thanksgiving, Christmas, like we're overeating. That's when we feel that really tired and exhausted, like feeling people like, oh, it's just the turkey. It's the turkey. There's something in the turkey that makes you sleepy. No, we're eating a lot of hot, warm, moist, earthy foods, and we're eating too much of it, which is going to give us that kapha energy, which is that slow. There's nothing wrong with kapha energy.
No, sometimes you want it, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, exactly. And so if it's too much, if it's too heavy, if you're like trying to take naps during the middle of the day, or you are like, I got to work today, but I would rather just take a nap all damn day long. Well, then it's probably you need to maybe have a little bit lighter foods, maybe some berries.
Pitta foods?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, you can have pitta, so more fiery foods, more spicy. And then your vata is going to be like your berries, your salads, your fruits and vegetables. Just something that's going to just lighten the mood a little bit, lighten the energy. And so always play around with that. If you're feeling out of balance, you're feeling down, you're feeling low, it's probably kapha, right? Too much kapha. You can have kapha. There's nothing wrong with it. But too much of a good thing is not a good thing. It's not necessarily bad either, but you can feel if you don't feel good. And that's why Ayurveda is so amazing. It's because it's so simple. It's so simple. Listen to your body.
Yeah, you just need that coach or that doc or that chart that kind of so you understand what dosha you're dealing with and what dose you want to go dose yourself with.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Which dose am I gonna get from this dosha? I like it.
Dosing with doshas.
Dosing with the doshas.
Dosha dosing.
Dosha dosing.
That's what you're doing. You're dosha dosing.
And it's it's an easy, like once you learn about it and you're informed and you're educated on your makeup and your imbalances, and you don't even necessarily need to know what your dosha is. You can just know what they are, and you can see and feel what's going on with your body. Like people get so hung up on like, what am I? Right. Am I a Libra? Am I whatever in full moon rising on this side?
Whatever
or
the hell
dosha.
You want to be.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't. I mean, yes, those are very interesting to know, like what we are and who we are and what we're made of. Like that's fun and special too. But like, if we are trying to get back into balance and like really work on our health, pay attention. Pay attention to who you are. Slow down a little bit. Listen to yourself. And if you're feeling like, man, I'm very angry. Like I'm so angry, and I'm just so competitive. Like there's some, like you're barking at your significant other, or you are yelling at your kids too much, or you have really bad road rage. The last thing you want to do is go get some spicy food, and on
a hot day
with alcohol. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be a good day for you. If you are having a temper and you're having an angry outburst, I would highly recommend going to maybe get something that's going to cool you down, right? Go do something with a little bit of more kapha. And depending on the season, if it's summer, you maybe just go get yourself an ice cream cone. Like, go ahead. It's okay to have ice cream sometimes. Like, go do that for yourself.
I just pictured a really funny commercial that we could do for somebody overdoing their pitta. But you can make it where they like keep encountering these situations that make it worse, and then they blow up at the end after they're drunk.
But that's life, right? Like that's it's funny, but it's so it happens all the time.
Yeah, I think it's not funny. But
you're stuck in traffic. You go to work, and then you're angry about life in general because you're overdoing everything, and then you go home. You're like, damn it, I need a beer. I need a drink, and then you it's just like this never-ending
Wife
cycle.
comes in, you start nagging at her right away. You slam another beer, and then you get in a little fight, and then the kids piss you off, and then
Yeah.
you trip and stub your toe, and
Yeah. It's like this wonderful.
and it's a hot day out, and
Yeah.
and you're pissed because the kids aren't helping you, so you're working extra hard trying to make the kids feel bad, like splitting wood on a
Are you
hot
telling your
day.
own story or what?
One time, I got really frustrated with the kids for not helping me, and this is just one day. I don't know, a few years ago, and I was having like just a bad pitta day, and I think I was drinking, and I remember it was Sasha's fault
Oh,
because
of course, because you were already high pitta, so it was not
I
your
was
fault.
outside working. Why it doesn't my wife demand that those kids come out and help me is what was in my head. Like, she's not doing her part. No, they're not doing their part. I'm the only fucking person doing their part, raking the goddamn leaves right now. And I was in front of the window. They were all in the living room, like on their screens. But I was
You
trying.
don't see me working out
Yeah,
here.
and I tried to make it really obvious that I was working, and I got mad and made this huge
I've
pile.
never done
and then
anything like this in my life. By
And
the
then
way.
I
I'm kidding.
worked up all this energy, and it was just really stupid. And I ended up just falling in the pile of leaves. And
No, I've done it. Like I'll go home, and if it's a really fiery day, and it doesn't help that both of us are pitta. Like that is our makeup, right? Like that's the fastest thing to go out of balance, right? So if you're overdoing the pitta energy with the spicy food, the anger, like just a lot, or just even the positives, you're working hard, you're doing all the things, but you're not giving yourself a break. You're not getting out into nature. You're not meditating. You're not grounding. You're not eating the right types of foods.
you're in a cycle.
You're in this cycle. Then all of a sudden this like attracts like, and you just keep going, and you get home, and then the dishes aren't done. And then you're like, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to do the dishes as loud as I possibly can so that everybody knows that I'm not happy and that they're all going to come out here and they're going to help me. And then you realize I'm a psychopath and I need to take a breath. And that is something that I've always had like anger issues, but it's not because I'm an angry person, right? It was, and now that I know this, it's high pitta. It's because I'm a competitive, loving, outspoken, like all these different types of pitta energy person, right? And I overdo it. And if I don't take the time, like, hey, I need a break. I'm going to take a whole day off to myself. And so now I even schedule a day of the week where I'm off. And so I'm going to go out in the woods. I'm going to sleep out in the woods. I'm going to meditate in the woods.
So at least once a week, that's your like check-in.
Yes, I have to. Otherwise, I will not be this person. I would be high-strung, like crazy person. So, yeah, it's important to know yourself.
So when is your day off this week? Today?
No, yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Well, it was kind of my day off. I had pretty much the whole day off yesterday.
Good. I want to do that someday soon.
Yeah, you should. It's good, especially if you are a pitta person. If you are a kapha person and you take too many days off and you're just like...
You don't want to go back.
You don't want to get up. You know what I mean? So, like, sometimes think of that, too. Like, if you are somebody who's kapha, like, you might want to snuggle in, read a book, sit by the fire. Like, don't we all want to do that?
I did a lot of that when I was appraising. I went through these cycles where I just would find every excuse possible to leave the office.
Yeah.
Just to go home and do something there. But then, well, I'm just thinking back different phases. Like, I can think of phases in my life now where I was like, oh, I was deep in kapha right then, or pitta. I don't know much about vata yet. It seems like I understand pitta and kapha the most, but...
Oh, so once you learn about it, too, like, vata is going to be more of your, like, you're just kind of, like, high on life type of energy and very talkative, fast talking, but very much, like, kind of go with the flow type of energy. Very, somebody who has a lot of vata might talk, like, really soft and just really quiet.
Are they carefree? Or not necessarily?
Yeah, I mean, they could be, but they're quick to change. Too, so they can change really fast as well.
And what are some of the downsides?
Anxiety, overthinking things, insomnia, that's going to be your vata energy. And so, and then the downside with kapha is, getting depressed, and maybe they're quicker to gain weight, which is not a bad thing to be a more stockier person. It's just harder for them to lose weight if they needed to, because we all feel good at a certain weight, right? We all feel good in our body in certain ways.
I don't know why I decided to eat this right now, but
because you're hungry. But yeah, it is the downside to that is just not being able to find the energy if you have too much kapha to do things that you want or that you need to get done, right? And I like kapha people. That's like the most nurturing. Like they're the ones that they make really good nurses and caregivers and mothers and teachers, and they're just that type of energy that you're just for me, I'm very drawn to kapha. Like, love me. Like,
they have a gentle, welcoming approach.
Yeah, just want to snuggle in and be like, let's read a book together. It's like very motherly energy. So
yeah, Sasha's definitely kapha.
Yeah, she's a very loving human and very grounded, and she has probably
She's vata kapha.
I was gonna say I would say vata too. Yeah, she's very loving.
We got them all, right? We all have them all.
We do, but there's some that are just more prominent than others. So
yeah.
And like I said before, once you know what they are and you start to feel like you're out of balance, you don't need to know what you are. You just need to know what those traits are.
What you're feeling like right now.
Yeah, what are you feeling like? Are you really angry right now? Okay, it's not the time to go get a drink. Like don't go do that. Don't go drink alcohol. Like, we are humans. Some people are going to drink. Like, and that's totally fine. But pay attention. Like, if you're an angry person right at the moment, don't go get Mexican food and then a beer. It's not going to help you at all. And same goes for if you are feeling really depressed and you are not wanting to leave your house, the last thing you want to do is go get a bowl of ice cream and turn on a movie. Like, it's not going to help you. You need to stand up and you need to go for a walk.
Oh, but when you're like hunkered down for the winter and you've just been lazy.
But that's fine. Like,
you
that's,
just want to watch a movie.
You can totally do that.
You just want to go get some ice cream and watch another movie.
You can do that. But if you're depressed, then it's a different story, right? Like, that's a nice thing too. Like, the imbalance, especially in the winter. Like, if you are, hunkering in for the winter and just like, that's the time to go inward anyway and slow it down and listen to the season. The seasons have doshas too. Winter is kapha. Like, that is your kapha energy. But if you start to feel, people are like, I'm depressed in the winter. I have seasonal depression. Well, here's another cool thing about Ayurveda. Like, it's because you're in the kapha season. You are in that depression season if it's too much, right? If like attracts like. And that's why I always tell people in the winter, it is so important to get outside. Get outside and move your body in the winter. Even though you don't have to go crazy, right? You don't have to go like insane, like crazy workouts or anything like that. Just stand up and go for a walk. Get outside and move your body. And feel like, I don't like the winter. It's too cold. And you just dress warmer. It's going to help you so that you don't have seasonal depression or the winter blues or cabin fever or all of the above.
What about the yellow candle? Didn't you tell me about that?
Yeah, the ghee candle. So the ghee candle is an Ayurvedic approach that you can use to help you with light, right? So like if in the winter it's darker, it's, the sun doesn't come out as often, there's cloudier, it's not as high in the sky, less time for the sun to even be out. So you can light these ghee candles. They're very yellow. And no, are they as strong as the sun? Absolutely not. But they are warming and welcoming, and like the light does help you to
Forget it, I'm on camera.
the light does help you to feel good, and it will also help you with melatonin production. So it's a good thing to get ghee candles, not the fragrance ones, just plain old ghee candles, so that you don't have the perfumes and stuff like that in there.
Okay. Where do you get ghee candles?
I got mine on Amazon. And I don't know where else you can get them, actually. I'm sure you can make them yourself, too. But I'm not quite there yet.
So if you got rid of all of your products that were no good in your shower and your bath and changed out your whole pantry and your refrigerator and just kind of changed how you buy your ingredients, source your ingredients, how you cook your food, what you're cooking your food in, what food you're deciding to cook, and what time of the year it is, and what you want to do and balance out. And if you did all that, you would be living the Ayurvedic principle, right? Or what do you, way?
Yeah, the Ayurvedic way. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things. There's so many things that you can do with Ayurveda, right? There's so many concepts and understandings of Ayurveda. But yes, in a nutshell, like that's holistic living, right? Holistic living is the most natural way that we can live and bringing ourselves back to nature as much as we possibly can. And that's going to be to reduce our toxin load. Like we literally live in a toxic soup. Like we live in the most toxic soup ever right now. And so it's our job. It's very, very, very important to know that what we put on our body, what we put in our body, what we consume, all of these different things, you literally are what you consume. And if it's not real, it's not helping you. You are nature. You need to go back to nature. Like we don't even use, like our shampoo and conditioner is like this very natural bar soap and shampoo bar soap, and then like a bar soap conditioner. We don't even use, like our shampoo's not even in a plastic container anymore. And no way, shape, or form do you have to go as extreme.
You wash your hair with bar soap.
It's a shampoo bar soap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not in plastic. And like I said, you don't have to go that extreme, but there's like, that's how crazy of a world like we live in. Like everything's in plastic container, and these microplastics and microtoxins are wreaking havoc on the endocrine system and creating really horrible issues with autoimmune issues and hormonal imbalances. And so many women can't have children at this point because of so many toxins in our environment. And it's a whole nother rabbit hole, probably a whole nother episode. But yeah, I would say it is very much an Ayurvedic approach and way to live as naturally and as seasonally as possible.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It was a great summary.
Thanks.